Washington. My name is Dale Spoonmore. This is our yard. So this is kind of the story of why I'm here. But really I want to get back to the root of this as to why we did this. And for me, it started here. So this was 10 years ago when my first daughter was born. And I was 340 pounds. I had a lot of health issues. My life was controlled by panic attacks, basically. 2 or 3 times a week, I would find myself in a closet, shaking on the ground. Had no idea what was happening to me. And that was kind of the life I lived up until the time she was born. And that was whenever I decided I couldn't live life that way anymore and raise kids. So I started going down the path of trying to get healthy. And I started, with marathon running and getting into that and trying to lose weight that way. And what happened was, although I lost the weight, my mental health issues were still there. Not as bad, but it was still there. And it wasn't until I met my wife, Carrie, in 2013, that she helped me finally get to the realization that it wasn't just about the amount of calories I was eating. It was about where those calories came from and about the food. And ultimately, that was what was leading to a lot of my issues with anxiety and depression. There were other things too, but that was a main source of it. And the way that she helped me get there was through this book called The Depression Cure that talked about how you can overcome anxiety and depression through natural ways. So it was, it was drinking a lot of water, eating the right foods, getting proper exercise, the right amount of sleep, and waking up at the right time, going to bed at the right time, not staying up all night on the computer like I had done up until then. Being mindful, so staying focused in the present moment and not worrying about what could happen in the future or ruminating over things that happened in the past. Getting enough sunlight, again, this kind of goes with sleep, but I used to spend a lot of time staying up late at night, staring at screens, not being outside during the day, and then through this I started waking up with the sun, going to bed with the sun, things like that were real pivotal. And then social activity with the right people, so positive, people to be around. So a lot of these things on this list that this book talked about pointed to starting a garden, because we started with the food part and it was very expensive. We were buying food. We were skipping the Walmart, we weren't buying food from Walmart anymore once I read some Michael Pollan and I learned about, where that food came from. And we started buying, at organic grocery stores and farmers markets and things like that. And we live on a pretty tight budget, so it was very expensive. I love cooking, and basil and oregano are some of my favorite things to cook with. And I was spending $5 a week on basil, and it just seemed silly because I had heard a rumor that if I threw a seed in the ground, then it would just grow. So, up until then, I hadn't really focused any attention in my life on that part of the world, but like the money part of it is what led us into it initially. So that's where our story begins, and I'm a nerd, and I love this kind of stuff, so I made it Star Wars themed, so get ready. So 2015, a new growth. And for us, when we started out, we did Square Foot Gardening was our first book we bought related to gardening. And I really liked it because, I come from the computer side of the world. I've been on computers my whole life, and this made sense to me. It was a system, I could easily memorize it. It was something I liked about it. And that was where we started. And we come to find out that although the Square Foot Gardening book is great, it was written by someone that lives in the north, and some of the things that are written in there don't necessarily apply to the south. So our first year, we made a lot of mistakes. But the first year, we really dedicated ourselves to the soil because, that's one thing I really appreciate about the book more than anything else is it gave me a deep understanding and sense of how important the soil is. So compost was something that was really important to us. And this is my daughter, Brooklyn, here, the baby I showed you earlier. And they've been critical throughout the whole process of building our garden. They're involved in every aspect of it. This was the first time we got compost dumped in the back of the truck, and she loved it so much. She thought it was so cool, that we were farmers now. And we took some pallets and we zip tied them together and we put them inside of there. And this was day one. We were farmers. We got really dirty. I did. See, she was strategic about it. So this was the end of the first year, and we grew one of all the things I'd heard of, basically, up until then, and that's what led us into year 2, because. So let me go back to the previous photo again. You see, around these gardens, my first gardening year was just fighting Bermuda. It was kind of looking at the plants, but really just fighting Bermuda, and I hated it. So that's what led us into fighting back against the Bermuda. And also, our first daughter, or I'm sorry, our third daughter, Mary Ann was born. And she likes to eat a lot. She told us within seconds of being born, basically, and she hasn't quit. And so we had to get to work building more gardens, and we expanded. And we started covering the entire yard in cardboard and wood chips. I learned this through the Back to Eden gardening method and through trial and error of like the black landscaping fabric. I tried that, and it's junk. So I learned that was one of the mistakes from the first year. So the second year was about stop this Bermuda so I can actually garden. So we started covering the entire yard, and you can see here kind of the progression. And up until this point, my wife had bought in on me having gardens along this fence. That was kind of the understanding that we had. And then one day I had a really bad day at work, and I work from home for the most part. I work at the computer, and then I go outside and I alternate. And I kind of did all of that in one day. And I kind of expanded out. And then she came home, and I was like, "Hey, honey, can you come look at something?" And she came out here, and she was like, "That looks good." And like that moment, I knew that whole half of the yard was mine. And and then it became a conquest from that day forward to go as fast as I could until she changed her mind. But luckily, she never did. And she started, and this was before then, like, I've always had random crazy obsessions that I get lost on a tangent, and I just want to know everything about like 13th century France. Like, it's like a whole month. And I've done this a lot of things in my life. So I think she was kind of waiting on this to kind of go away and me to have my next thing. But I think it was starting to become clear that there was something here, with this. And it wasn't just about the garden. It was about the food we were getting out of it. And I remember, and I'll never forget the first time I had spinach out of the garden. And before that, I knew spinach as something that I would add to my Subway sandwiches, so it looked like I didn't just have a pile of meat, and so it wasn't just a big thing of bread. It was strategy. Or Popeye liked it, and it was a can that was underneath my pantry that we never opened. And I think it was one of those cans where it was a fake can that you hide stuff in even. Like, we just never ate it. So that was my relationship with spinach. And then when I had it out of the garden for the first time, it was like, wow, this actually tastes good. I want this. Like, I want more of this. And then every variety has its own unique flavor. Some of them are kind of almond-like and sweet and crunchy, and it's different depending on the temperature. And it was this whole world that I just knew spinach as this bland thing. And now my eyes were opened. And that was really what launched us into this taking over our lives. Was that not only the taste difference, but with that added taste came the extra nutrition that made it to where those panic attacks were pretty much gone. I still have them from time to time, but when I do, it's my own fault. It's when I have too many hamburgers and too many beers, and I'm on the computer too much, and I'm dwelling in negative thoughts. I bring it on myself whenever it happens now. And now through this, they pretty much are gone. Now I still have anxiety, but the anxiety, I use it out here. When I feel anxious, I go dig until I go turn my compost pile until I'm tired of it, and then I'm exhausted, and then the anxiety's gone. And when I feel depressed, I go outside, and there's always a new sprout or something new going on, a new appreciation for life. You see colors in a different way when you garden. That sprout, that green sprout in the spring is so beautiful when you've been staring at your dead garden all winter. And you're waiting for that green life to pop up. And that's what gardening does for me, is it gives me that insight into life that I didn't have before. And gardening helps me on a daily basis to go out there and see, appreciate things and to have that. So I want to talk about the wood chips because obviously we brought in a lot of wood chips to cover our backyard. You can get them for free from the City of Norman Compost Facility. I want to mention that because a lot of people ask me, how did you afford all these wood chips? I'm like, well, I couldn't have if I had to buy them. So you can get them for free there. And then, it's kind of an awkward transition. I should have thought about this. So this was in the middle of 2016, my grandfather died. And this was when I really started to appreciate the mental health side of gardening from the therapeutic side. And the week that he died, or the week after he died, I narrated his funeral, or whatever you call that. And leading up to that, I had never really done public speaking, and I was terrified of it. And I spent the whole week out in the garden doing this, basically. I built 3 extra gardens and let him speak to me. And the whole week I was just out there. And that was when I really started to feel like the garden was my second home, like more than just a health benefit. It's my favorite place to go now. So that was, 2016 for us was really about getting to that point, with gardening where we were able to overcome some of the problems we had. And really we were starting to innovate too. I was having fun, I was starting to use some of the tech stuff and some of my wild ideas and a lot of YouTubing to try things, to solve some of the problems we had. And we were having a lot of success too. We were finally starting to get a lot of food out of the garden. The kids were enjoying it, you know. So this is one of the ways we innovated. One of the, I hated watering the second year in the spring. I like it in the spring. Come summer, I can't stand watering. So we built this system so that we can hook up a hose up to a PVC pipe and automatically irrigate out of there. So we've since transitioned into the black irrigation tubing with the emitters. You can water more at a time. It's more efficient. But when we were first starting, we didn't have a lot of money to spend on it. We didn't know if we wanted to spend. So we started with things like this. And then I saw an Oklahoma gardening episode about rainwater collection. And then, again, I get on wild tangents, and rainwater collection was one of my things for a few months. So I watched hours of YouTube videos and built a rainwater collection system that collects, I think, 700 gallons here. And it's filtered through a couple of different systems. I've got a full guide on our website that talks about how we built that. So if you want to know more about it. And then we wanted to build a new compost bin because the previous one had a fixed height and lifting and it was a pain. I wanted to have one where I could remove the front. So we rebuilt this out of pallet wood. So, we were starting to learn a lot of things and do a lot of things. And this is a cover that we built, a PVC cover, so that we can keep insects off of our plants. And then in the winter, we switch it out with the plastic sheeting, so it's like a miniature greenhouse. And this is a seed starting station that we built. So these were all the things we were starting to build, and we were starting to find ways to build them cheap, because my dad taught me that at an early age. You kind of find what you have, you scrap, and you build things with it. And these are things, we built this. My uncle had this grow rack already. We found the lights on Craigslist for like $8, $10 each, basically. We were able to build this really cheap. And that's where we were leading into the end of 2016, when my son Junior was born. So previously in that year, I kind of skipped over what happened to us earlier in that year in January. My wife ended up pregnant and lost a baby and almost died earlier that year. And that was part of what happened, why I built so much gardens that year. There was a lot of stress going on. And that was what led it up to, basically 2017 and the election time. And don't worry, y'all, I'm not getting into politics at all. This is how I feel about all of it. I rejected all of it, basically. I hated the arguing, the tone of this country. And I just felt overwhelmed with, like, what world are my kids going to grow up into where everyone hates each other? And I felt like there's nothing I can do to fix it. And I was waiting in line to vote, and I felt like someone asked me, what are you doing to fix it? And my answer was nothing. And from that point forward, I came home and we started building our website, and all of my energy that used to go into reading the news and caring about what was going on goes into this now. And I can actually do something instead of, I don't even read the news much anymore. Like, I check the headlines to see if we're on fire. Do I need to get in a bunker? Okay, cool, I'm good for a day or two. Like, that's kind of it. All of my energy goes into this now, and I don't stay up and read the news like I used to read all the, like, I used to do. That's what I did late at night, was reading all the different news outlets, seeing what's going on, and what good did it do? Nothing. I couldn't do anything about that, so I started doing something about it, and I felt like the first, when I was waiting in line to vote, and that question was asked of me, what are you doing to fix it? Literally the next moment, I'm introduced to people they're asking me about how to grow food. It was like the universe just aligned us together. And suddenly I'm showing pictures of my garden. There's like 10 people around us and everyone's asking me, and I felt like I was shown in that moment, this is what you can do. So that is when we started shooting videos, and I still feel so awkward out there in my garden. Like, hello, it's just so awkward. But I still I do it, and I go out there and I show basically what we do in our garden and how we grow things. And we started doing that, and we started a website where I just started telling stories of how we did things. But let me back up a little bit. I've worked in software development my entire career. I've been on computers my whole life. When I started gardening, I wanted an app to make this easier, because I was carrying around all these books. I mean, I loved reading the books. I liked learning that way, but I wanted to carry around an app to make this easy. I was tired of doing the calculations for what dates I needed to plant. I had most of them memorized, but trying to tell other people too, especially if they're in other parts of the country, and then I got to go calculate for them, and I've got to, companion planting, remembering what goes well next to each thing. Pests. I was always emailing Tracy down at Cleveland County. What is this pest? And I built up this pretty good database of pests. And so we wanted to make an app but I didn't know how to code at the time because I'd worked in software development, but I was a product manager, I was in testing, I was not the actual coder. So last year, I dedicated all of that free time. I pivoted away from gardening stuff a little bit and learned how to code. And then we built our app starting last July, and we released in January. And this is our app here. So our app will walk you through how to grow over 70 different foods. I think we're close to 80 now. My wife, Carrie, is adding foods all the time. She's a full-time nurse and a full-time software developer now. It's pretty amazing what she does. It'll calculate planting dates that are based on where you live, anywhere in the country. It uses the nearest NOAA weather station to pull the last 100 years of freeze dates, and then it calculates based off of that. You can also go in and change the freeze date. So if you want to play, you can pull up the list of freeze date potentials from 10% to 100%, and you can choose how risky you want to play it, and it recalculates. It'll do that for anywhere in the country and soon anywhere in the world. Yes, do you have a question? What is the cost of this app? Oh, thank you. So the app is completely free. We made this app because we wanted to make a difference in the world. We wanted to make it easy for anyone to grow food. And if I charge for this, that makes it harder for people. So people, it was kind of a crazy idea. We spent a lot of time on this, but we feel like we can make money in other ways. Not by selling data or anything like that, but we recommend Amazon products. If you click on that link and buy it, we get 8%. We're working on getting a partnership. Johnny Seeds, if you're watching this video, please reach out to me. I would love to partner with Johnny Seeds or a company like that to start selling seeds through the app. So it can recommend, if you go tomatoes, it shows you, we have 200 types of tomatoes. Here are the 5 that are best for you based on what you want to grow. And that's what I want to build with this app. I think that's how we can make money with it. I don't want to make money off charging people for knowledge that I got for free from people in this room even, I didn't pay to learn this stuff. So I didn't feel right charging for that. But we are going to have some pro features soon. So a feature that lets you you mark when you plant something, and then it guides you through estimated harvest date and it tells you when to water based on how much it's rained, where you are, that kind of thing. So guiding you through the process. So yeah, it'll give you the planting dates, and then it'll also give you all the information about how to grow it. So it'll give you, over here it shows you companion planting information. So over here it'll give you the tab of the good companion plants that grow next to each vegetable, as well as the bad. So you get a list of both. It'll show you, if you go to the pest tab for a vegetable, it'll show you the pests that most commonly attack that vegetable. And if you tap on it, it'll give you the recommendations for how to treat it organically. We don't recommend any pesticides other than diatomaceous earth. That's the closest we get to a pesticide. Or BT. But even then with diatomaceous earth, we're telling them be careful where you put it, like it could kill bees. We're really recommending, insect netting, preventative things, more than anything with the app. And companion planting and smart planting to prevent pest issues. Also, this is the other information you can see. So it gives you all the growing information. It shows you time to harvest. And this is the data we're using to then calculate, the thing I mentioned where it guides you through. So that's the pro feature that we're working on. We pull in videos from our YouTube automatically. So if you go to the carrots tab, it'll pull in all the videos for carrots from our YouTube channel. Also our blog posts. My wife puts out 2 or 3 blog posts a day about something related to growing food. So if there's anything about that vegetable, it pulls in to that tab as well. And then also, I mentioned we have the links to products. So there's a lot of products that we bought that we really like using. The seeding square is awesome, especially if you have kids. It takes square foot gardening, has little holes, for each one that are color coded. So our 2-year-old, she's 3 now, has learned her colors and how to count and all that through the seeding square. It's how we teach her. So, we really like that product. This knife here, this A.M. Leonard knife, is awesome. I love it. So these are products that we've used ourselves. Smart Pots is a product we initially started buying, and then now we've become friends with them, and we work together on a lot of things. And then, like I said, right now we link to seeds on Amazon. I want to get away from that as soon as I can and link to a seed company. I would love to link to Johnny's. I love Johnny's. And so that's what we're looking to do. But this is what we have now. I want to talk about what we're building next and what we're going to be releasing in the next few weeks. Because what we built now shows you how to grow food if you already know how to grow food. Or if you already want to grow food, is what I'm trying to say. Here's the problem, though. I've spent all year talking to people about this app and going out and trying to get people to grow food. And what I found is that most people would download the app, they'll spend about 6 minutes and 16 seconds in it, and then they'll keep it on their phone, they'll put it away, and they'll open it once every couple weeks. I think with that, man, I would love to grow food. You know, like if I ever do, this is what I'll use. And that's what they're doing, but they're not actually growing food. So an opportunity came to us over the summer, the Thunder Launchpad. So the Oklahoma City Thunder has a program called the Launchpad where they help tech companies get off the ground. So specifically tech companies that are focused on doing good in the world. And they reached out to us and we about their program, and we applied and we got accepted. And we've been in it now for a few months. And what they've helped us understand, thank you, is that we weren't, I'd missed the message a little bit on the marketing, and that we were selling how to garden but not why to garden. And that is where this came in. So this is what we're releasing in the next few weeks. My wife is a nurse, as I mentioned. She has been partnering with her friends who are in nutrition and her lifelong study of this to build this new feature that will let you choose your health condition. And then once you choose it, it will recommend the specific plants that help with that health condition. And the pro version that we're building will guide you through growing those. So if you choose energy, for example, it'll take you into the grow tab. It'll show you the plants that help with that. It'll recommend the top 3 to start with. And then that'll give you a starting point. So people that are out there that maybe want to grow food, but they don't know where to start now, this actually guides them into it. And what we're hoping this becomes is I don't know if I can say this if I'll get sued for this, but it's the WebMD for plants is the way I see it. Right? So you go to WebMD, you say, like, what is my health condition? And it gives you all these medications, right? Well, we hopefully built it from the natural world. So you go and you choose your health condition. We're going to show you the plants that will help you with that. So this is what we're hoping to release in the next few weeks. We've got most of it built. We're very close on it. And this is what we're really excited. In November, the Launchpad has a demo day where we get to go to the Thunder Complex and demo in front of the media and a lot of other people. And so it's fun. It's pretty awesome. We're excited about it. And yeah, so this is our garden now. I want to show what it looks like now. And now I want to open it for any questions. Does anyone have any questions or anything you want to know more about? Yes. Yes, ma'am. I've talked to you on Facebook. And this is so when I mentioned I get information from people from free. Linda, everything I know about onions came from you. No, I'm serious. Seriously. The Calypso one from Europe, is that the name of it? The variety of onion from Egypt. There's a variety you found of onion that was over in the Middle East or something that does well here. Calypso. Cobra, yes, yeah. See, this is what I'm talking about. There's all these people around Oklahoma, especially that on the Oklahoma Gardening Network on Facebook. It's a Facebook group. Dawn Coyle is on there. Yeah, Dawn Coyle. That's basically, I don't know what else she does. I mean, that's all she does is help people grow food on there, and she's amazing. And Bruce Hopper and other people that are, I could go on for days talking about all the people. That's why our app is free, because this information did not come from me. I didn't invent any of this stuff. I just saw the tech that could bring it to happen, and so, yeah. Are there any? Yes, ma'am.
This is going to sound like I'm stalking. I've been watching you since. It does, Jeff. And I've had the program for as long as you've had it. And I cannot tell you taught me anything I didn't know, because I've been gardening since, before. But you have inspired me, and your family has inspired me, and I refer you a lot because.
Thank you.
People come to my garden and I'm like, dig a hole. Just dig a hole and plant something. They look at it and that's the best you have to offer. That's all I know. Dig a hole. If it grows, you got good soil. So I refer them to a lot of other people. And in 2017, when my house burned down, I used to be on a lot of the groups and very vocal. I stopped because my house burned down and I had a lot of problems. But you inspired me to start again, because when I lost everything, I didn't know where to begin again. And your videos and the Oklahoma Gardening Network and the Tulsa Urban Farming Group reached out to me so much, either through your websites or in person. People stopped by and gave me.
Can I give you a hug? I give you a hug. Thank you. I gotta tell you, that means so much to me.
It's Jim, you're just the sweetest little thing you've ever seen.
Oh, they're all adorable.
Thank you. That means a lot to me. It really does. Okay, so the notification piece, that will be real soon because the My Garden stuff that we're building. So I can briefly explain how this works, I think, hopefully. Find a screenshot. Okay, so there's going to be a new button right here, the plus button. When you tap on it, it takes you into a new tab, and it has planting date. We automatically fill today. You choose seed or transplant, and then it calculates everything from there. That drives push notifications. That plus also lets you, when you tap, there's also a way to add a button like in your wish list. And anything on your wish list, you get notifications. So a month before time to planting, it's a month before planting, tap here to buy your seeds. A week before planting, don't forget to, you need to be planting, think about where you're going to put it. Here's your companion plants, you need to think about where, so it guides you through. And every week you get a notification. It's like a pregnancy tracker for your plants, is the way my wife beautifully described it, really. And we're going to have hopefully little animations in there that kind of show this is your plant now. And for carrots, it could be like, for carrots, it could be like if you harvest now, it's this big. If you wait a month, it could be this big, and bring some visualization behind some of that. So that'll be really soon, the notification piece. The visual map piece of it, okay, so the first gardening app I started with was Garden Plan Pro, which does some of that. But I didn't really like the way, it had a lot of issues, and I came from, in the software world, the software that I made for 8 years was for real estate appraisers to draw a house and then calculate square footages and calculate how much a house is worth based on that. I can basically take that exact same principle and apply it to gardening because you're drawing an outline, you want to calculate things, so. And the code behind that I have access to. So yeah, that is what we want to get to. But the thing is, we're trying to build a business now, and that software would be used by maybe 10 to 15% of gardeners. And I really want to build it. But first, we've got to build something that could be mass scale so that we can have the money to. Because right now we both still I have a full-time job that I'm missing right now. Yeah, but that is definitely what we want to get to. And the idea is you map out your garden, and then you choose what plants you want to grow, and then it automatically places them for you where it suggests going. Based on knowing that the fence here is a certain height, and then the sun at this angle. And it will help. And they even use that because for something that likes some shade in the summer, it can know that. But that's going to take a lot to build, and I really want to think it through. And one of the things I like to do with software is I don't like to release something until it's the Apple model. I've always been a fan of how they do things. That's why they're always a couple years behind Android. But when it comes out, it works really well. And that's what I'm hoping to maintain with our app, is that same consistency to where when we do release something, it's intuitive, it works really well, it's not confusing.